Some of you may have noticed that I haven't submitted as many Medscape videos over the last 6 months. And I wanted to give you an idea of what's been going on in my family life that has kept me away from you. Late last fall, my mother, who had been a vigorously healthy 79-year-old lady, suddenly became ill. And in the span of 4 short weeks, she went from driving 3.5 hours to my house on her own for a very active weekend, driving herself home again, to being in hospital, struggling to sit up, struggling to talk more than a word or two that frequently didn't make sense. A couple of weeks later, she was diagnosed with a severe varicella encephalitis. Turns out my mother had never had chickenpox. And when you have chickenpox for the very first time as a 79-year-old woman, you often don't develop any of the skin rashes, not a single vesicle, and that makes diagnosis incredibly difficult. Now, she has recovered, but she has recovered with some residual cognitive deficits that at this point make it still unsafe for her to return living alone. She's doing well. We're hopeful that she'll continue to recover, and she's moved to an assisted living facility that really suits her needs incredibly well. But that means my sister, who lives in California, and me, who live in Indiana, have needed to take over managing all of the financial affairs for my mother, who lived independently in Ohio. Now, the good news here is that my parents kept meticulous records, and they had shown me where in the office in their house, all of the financial paperwork, all of the bank accounts, all of the insurance accounts, everything was kept and everything was obsessively labeled and organized. And my sister and I even found what we now call the magic book, the spiral-bound 4x6 inch notebook with tabs indicating each page that has the username and the password and all of the codes for every website that she had ever visited or had done business. So you would think this might be an easy task. And despite that, 6 months later, there are still accounts that I can't access, dealings that we're still struggling to get sorted out and taken care of, things that we still don't know and are only now finding out. Some of the challenges include websites that use dual authentication. That's a great thing for safety. But those were not sites that she needed to visit very frequently. In one case, the dual authentication went to my father's cell phone. My father died suddenly last January. That dual authentication doesn't work. Without that dual authentication, I can't access that website. I've tried contacting that company. They think I'm a scammer. No amount of pleading, giving them all of the information, offering to send them the power of attorney has had any effect. One of the dual authentication goes to one of my mother's old email addresses, an email address that she let go in a carrier that does not even exist any longer. Same problem. Can't do the dual authentication, can't access that account. Thankfully, that's one that right now we don't need to access to take care of the urgent needs in her financial life. But imagine how much more difficult this must be for the family members of our patients if the records were not so meticulous, if they couldn't find the magic book, or if the magic book didn't even exist. When all you want to do is love your mother, love your father, your family members, take care of their physical and emotional needs, it is so easy and time-consuming to get bogged down in trying to manage the financial details, finding access to things hours on hold with insurance companies and bank examiners, just trying to make certain that the bills are paid and that those details are taken care of. Think about this the next time you talk to your patients. Ask them, have they given their family members a tour of their office areas? If they're suddenly not able to manage their financial details, where would the people that they love and trust find that information? Is that information up to date? It sounds so simple, and yet we often lose sight of it. I hope you never find yourself in this position. Best wishes to all of you.